All right, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Winning Season Podcast. We're here at the Garden Rooftop in Baltimore, Maryland, with our two panelists, Racquel Tyler, Relationship Manager at Harbor Bank, and Gerard McDaniel, VP of Commercial Lending at Harbor Bank. And the episode today is Financial Exchange, Inside Look at the Numbers. Let's talk about it. All right, so Racquel Tyler, formerly banker at Fulton Bank, she now serves as relationship manager at Harbor Bank. And in that role, she supports business development for the bank to manage existing and new relationships with bank clients to both build the financial base of the bank, but also help the bank support the community through investment. She also recently completed the American Bankers Association ABA Wharton Emerging Leader Advanced Certificate Program, the 2025 Maryland Business Associates Emerging Leadership Program, and is presently enrolled in the 2025 Associate Black Charities Broad Pipeline Leadership Development Program. Let's give a warm welcome to Racquel for joining us today.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Gerard McDaniel, VP of Commercial Lending at Harbor Bank, has a vast experience in business and real estate management and has been able to leverage that experience to propel himself into multiple VP roles, including PNC Bank and now Harbor Bank. His experience represents banking at the local, regional, and national levels. Let's also give a warm welcome to Gerard McDaniel. All right. We're going to hand it over to Racquel to give us an introduction to the Harbor Bank of Maryland.
A little bit about the Harbor Bank. We're headquartered out of Baltimore City. We've been operating and open for over 43 years. We are a community bank and we are a Black-owned bank.
I'd like to add a couple things to her introduction. So, they've been open since 1982. They started with $2.1 million in assets, and they have grown to over $300 million in assets, which is a very big accomplishment for a minority Black company.
Yeah,
Really excited for that.
not to mention we're a CDFI, a MDFI, and we are FDIC insured. So that's good to know. So for all the people that know what a MDFI and a CDFI means.
One last thing. So, also, a key number is 60% of small business loans originate from community banks, which Harbor Bank is, and I think that's a really great thing for Baltimore City and a lot of small businesses in the area that could really benefit from Harbor Bank's existence. All right, so let's go to personal brand. All right, so before you even get into having your business brand or trying to qualify for a business, I think personal brand and you yourself are very important to represent what's necessary for your business to actually be successful. So I wanted to hear a little bit about that from you all in terms of that. What does that look like? I mean, I know down the line you can look at people's credit score, et cetera. But way before that, what type of person do you think? What type of character that person may have that would increase their chances of even getting to that point?
Ultimately, you want to look for a trusted person, somebody that's authentic and you know who they is, and just you got to be trustworthy. You know, when we pull in information about credit, you have to be able to be upfront about what you're saying, what you're providing. So we're looking for a trustworthy person.
Yeah, I think in addition to what Raquel highlighted, I think it's very important. Just initially, when you think about being successful in a business, your brand is everything. So I think when we think about your brand that you present into the bank, you want to, you know, are you paying bills on time? How do you treat your vendors? Are you in the news for anything that's bad? And on the opposite side of that, just like how you become unsuccessful in a business, if you are doing things the wrong way, typically that builds bad character, and character is definitely something that's important to banking when we're making lending decisions.
Okay, I like that. So let's go into a little deeper into how your business brand actually looks in Harbor Bank's eyes when you're making decisions about lending to a new business that is trying to, receive a loan from Harbor Bank.
Yeah, I can touch on that. I think when we when we pretty much do an analysis, I mean, we want to get an idea of, I guess we can understand your brand by the customers you serve. Get an idea of kind of what you're doing as an owner, as a guarantor, because you're going to be guaranteeing the loan. Kind of what are you doing out in the community if you have a community-based business? What services do you provide? What are the impacts of those? I think that kind of tells the story of the business itself, some of your successes, some of the hurdles you might have had in your business that you've overcame. Are you taking on apprentices, different things like that? Are you helping other businesses? And then I think even taking a step back from your question into like its most natural form, it's very important to build a relationship. And I think Racquel will probably touch on the relationship, especially when you look at it from a depository perspective. Those are going to be things that we take into consideration. So I'll pass it on to Racquel to talk a bit about building that depository relationship and the importance.
It's important to when you're starting with a new bank, you want to start to build that relationship. Relationship building is important. It's important for us. It's important for you. It's important for us to understand how you're utilizing your money on a day to day. It's important to know, the connections that you have.
In terms of building a strong relationship, so we can go into a few things that you think really captures a strong relationship in the eyes of Harbor Bank.
So I think, I mean, in its simplest form in the eyes of banking in general, I think initially when you're talking about a relationship is two-sided. Usually the easiest entryway into a relationship with a bank is a depository account, but also merchant services, treasury management, lending, which again, most of the times, most of my conversations are around lending, but holistically taking a look at it, I think there's different ways that you can start that relationship with a bank and also have an impactful relationship with a bank. Who are you talking to at the bank? Who are you working with at the bank? When you have problems with taking payments, when you have problems with equipment, I think these are all conversations that you can be having with your bank. And obviously, hopefully that bank is the Harbor Bank. But again, I think those are the pillars or the building blocks for starting that and building it. And I'm sure Racquel probably has some things she can add in that perspective as well.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Start by opening up your business and your business or saving checking. Be consistent. Check in regularly, to see the activity of your account and just build that one-on-one relationship with your banker. Your banker should be calling you, updating you about your account, giving you new products, just educating you, giving you new services. So the relationship is important. It doesn't matter where you go, whether it's with Harbor or anywhere else. You always want to make sure that you're tapped into your bank and you're understanding the services that they have to offer. You're understanding the history, and you're understanding your account and your goals. Like, what is your goals? What's your long-term goals? Your banker should know your goals because that's something that you come in every day. Hey, my child is going off to college. They should be asking you, how are you saving? How are you investing for this college plan? So relationship building is important.
And I think I would add to that as well. I think if we just look at it in as many layman terms as we can, think of a relationship with the bank just like any other relationship. With whether you have a husband or a wife, I mean, you want to know what's going on with them. You want things to move in a positive direction. You want your goals to be aligned, and that's why it's important to communicate with your banker. And also, it's important to be able to audit that relationship as well, because if it's not working out, then you need to find a new bank. You need to have that relationship, just like in a relationship.
Okay, so can we talk about a little bit about Harbor Bank and what it means to both have deposits at the bank and what type of community impact that has in the minority community?
The importance of a minority bank and a community bank. I think we know Baltimore because this is where we at. This is where we're serving. This is where we're headquartered. This is where we started. I think a lot of times people take that for granted. I think understanding and banking with a bank that understands where you're doing business is just as important as getting a loan. Because we understand some of the hurdles that you're going to go through. We understand the market. We understand being able to connect with the customer base because we're here doing it, and we're doing that much needed work that you're doing, whatever your respective business is. And I think that's hugely important when you're thinking about really just building out a game plan, because ultimately you want to be successful in your business, and we want to we want you to be successful in your business, especially if we lend, because if you're not successful, you're not going to pay the loan back. But nonetheless, I think we're just as bought in as you are, and we understand that market. And I'll pass it over to Racquel.
So I would say being a customer of a Black-owned bank means that you're strengthening your community, right? You're building that impact. What's the impact? So Harbor Bank, we're consistently doing things for the community, hosting events, and just trying to support our community and help our community grow. So when you bank with a Black-owned bank and you walk in and everybody look like you, it makes you feel good. Me as a business owner myself, before I started working at Harbor, I walked in and that was a bank that I chose just knowing that I wanted to be intentional about my banking. And when I walked in, I said, wow, I look around and everybody look like me. And then when I see the impact that Harbor Bank has on our community, it means a lot to me, knowing that they'll call me and say, hey, we're hosting this event. You may cater or you may do podcasts. We need you here. Your services is needed,
I like that.
right? So I think that's important, knowing that your banker can think of you when it comes to growing, and that's how you be intentional about your banking. We're not banking for conveniency anymore. Like, we have to start banking for, being more intentional.
Right. Aligning interest between your personal, your business, and the bank that you're banking with.
Yeah,
I like that.
of course.
All right. So let's go into one more topic that I was wanted to talk about in terms of the decision making when you are chosen for a specific loan or some other lending vehicle. So can you speak to what key financial criteria you go into when you're making that decision to say yes to a potential customer?
Yeah, I can touch on that. I think I think it's like your business plan and going in from the beginning is important, and the team that you build around you. I think a lot of times the type of product or the type of support you need for your business should never be a surprise. These should be conversations that you're having with your accountant, a conversation that you're probably having with your lawyer. If you have any key individuals within your business that you're talking to, I would think on a regular basis that lead to success. Hopefully your banker is in that circle. And we should be having these conversations, and we should know kind of where that need is going. We should be having conversations about where your business came from, where your business is today, and where your business wants to go, and then how we can achieve and exceed those goals. I think a lot of times if we are able to do that, then when we need that resource, it's not just running in and getting the next quick fix thing or the next thing you see on the internet where it's like, oh, go get a business credit card over here for this amount and do this with it, or go get a line of credit. I think every business is special and individual in their need. And if we are meeting on a quarterly basis, a monthly basis, or whatever cadence that you need to help you achieve your goals, then we should already be able to pre-identify those things so that we're building a strong profile. And then when you start to look at some of the specifics of what you need, some of the most easiest things to keep in mind is make sure your business is in good standing. You'd be surprised how many businesses we come across that just aren't in good standing with the state. I think make sure you're filing your taxes, or if you're not filing, make sure that you have properly filed for an extension. A lot of businesses don't do that. They just file them when typically they'll file them when they need to use them for something versus like just staying up to date on everything around that. And then I think just building a strong personal profile. Like, again, you're going to be a guarantor for the loan. We want to see how you manage your personal side of the wheelhouse. So, I mean, strong credit score, paying bills on time, paying vendors on time. If you got a credit card, using credit cards how they're meant to use. If you currently have lending elsewhere, whatever that facility looks like, just making sure you're using it properly. Like, you use a line of credit like it's meant to be used. I mean, a line of credit should be paid down. Like, a line of credit is short-term working capital typically, so it should be supporting you during a short-term need. Don't use short-term debt for long-term debt. Different things like that to, I think, build strength in your profile. So when you come in, it's really you should already know that you don't have any concern about being approved. Your real concern should be whether this term sheet is better than that term sheet.
Gerard just dropped some gems.
Sounds like you really should keep that relationship early on in your desires to potentially do business, so that you have somebody to force you to keep aware of certain metrics or other things that you should be doing to continue to be attractive to the bank for when you potentially need that loan.
Yeah,
or
and I
something.
think I think again as your banker, like I'm on your team. Like I'm not here to be an adversary. And I think understanding that causes more conversations with your banker, and you can kind of get a game plan underway, and then also evaluate your banker. I mean, like you should never, if you get a decline for a loan, I personally don't believe it should just be a no. It should be a no with a plan on how we get to a yes. So if you're dealing with a banker that's just giving you a no and they just move on, maybe you need a new banker. I think that's very important because it's always good to kind of know where you are and know where you're trying to go and building that relationship.
Like, I feel like a lot of times we start business and we don't stay disciplined in how we run our business, right? Like, it's your business, it's your baby, so you want to make sure that you're A to B, right? You're understanding your business, what it needs. And I always tell people, I always tell my clients, do not get lending when you need it. You should always look for lending or look for capital before you need that, because when you need it, then it's like, oh my God, I need it right then and there, and then you're rushing a lender to approve it. Oh, how long is this going to take? But if you look into this prior to that, then you already have it, and then you have it in the savings, and you're just, building. So get the funds before you need it, right?
I like that. Thinking ahead is always good.
Thinking ahead is always
Wait until the end when you really need it may turn into a crisis for you.
it's a crisis.
All right, so let's go to the next topic where, okay, so let's just say you have a good personal brand, you turned it into a good business brand, you actually have met the right key financial criteria, you got approved for some form of lending to help establish your business, grow your business, etc. And now, so that you can help grow your business and potentially get the next amount of lending from that bank, let's talk about marketing and sales and how important that is to a business viability long term.
I think that first of all, you always supposed to be marketing your business, right? We're our biggest advocate, so you always want. And I look at it the way I look at my job, right? So you always want to be increasing wallet share for your business. Brand visibility, that's always important. You want to tap into your local chambers. How can you get resources? You want to go and you want to come to places like this where you're listening to panels where you can understand the gems and understand the people that's going to give you the knowledge about those things. So I think just staying up on the need of your business is important. Gerard, if you want to kind of.
Yeah, I can jump in there, and again, the piggyback off of some of the things Racquel already mentioned. I think it's important to understand that every encounter is a marketing opportunity. I think sometimes that could be partnerships. That could be, you could be at a nonprofit event, and that's a marketing opportunity for your business. That could be participating in a nonprofit. That could be the give back. That could be speaking at a school. That could be providing a grant to another business that's smaller than yours that's undergoing. And I think more importantly, I think understanding your business plan early on and where you want your business to go and what you want to accomplish will help determine what that marketing need looks like. Because everybody's goal isn't to be the biggest in the industry. I mean, I would hope everybody's goal is to at least be bigger than they are, but sometimes you might be in the latter years of your business. You might be at a point where you're just trying to grow a business to sell it. So I think understanding those things will help you kind of monetize what that marketing budget looks like, and then also from there you can formulate a plan to get where you need to be.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback on that. Seek partnership, right? You always want to seek partnership. Nobody wants to see somebody with their hand out all the time, right? So you have to be able to give to get. So if I'm a business owner and I have qualities that will support you, I'm gonna give that to you first, right? And then when it comes around and I'm doing something, you're gonna look at me like, hey, I can do that. I can market that for you for your business. So you don't want to be a taker all the time. You always want to be able to give, and you want to be able to be around like-minded people. So.
I agree with that. I definitely agree that marketing is the lifeblood of any business. I think that if no one knows about your business is going nowhere, right? So you need those customers, and if those customers don't know about your business and what you do, it doesn't matter how great you are. There's no one to purchase from your business. I also agree with strategic partnership. I think that's very important for business development. I think that finding other businesses and or people that you might have a critical service and they have a critical service, and if you pair together and you trade value with each other, you can increase the value of both of your businesses, right? And I think that together is very good to help, like I said, push your business forward and their business forward for hopefully a more long-term viable situation. Mm-hmm. All right, so any closing thoughts?
I have a little. Health is wealth. So a lot of times we're moving, we're steady going, but we don't think about our health. And later on, you need to be there to be able to run that business. So I think you have to put your health first, right? And then, the business will come along, right? The people will come along. But health is wealth. And, there's a lot of resources that's out here. Always speak on one. So you have Scores. They help with business planning. They're out, and they have a couple locations. One in Baltimore. You have the Small Business Department in Bowie State. Go out there, check them out. They do a lot of business planning as well. And come check Harbor Bank out. Come get your account. We here, Black owned, Black managed, and when you see us, you're gonna come in. You're gonna meet with me. You're gonna meet with Gerard, and we're gonna make sure we get you straight. So
that's hard to follow up with right there, But closing remarks. I think if I was to leave one, I guess, word of advice or wisdom, I think the strongest businesses we see, they build a strong team. Build a strong team around yourself, and be realistic about where players of your team excel. You can't build a team with 5-point guards. So ultimately, you got to get people that's strong in different areas, build that strong core, and grow together. And I think if everybody understands their role and everybody is passionate about the mission, it'll improve your chances for success. And then as we talk about resources, Racquel mentioned some local to Baltimore as well as local to Prince George's County. I think getting involved with your Chamber of Commerce, especially as a small business, is very important to your success. I think when you start to look at a new business, if we have any new business owners watching here, new businesses are the toughest to get capital early on. So I think being familiar with some of the grants that are available out there, and your banker should be able to provide you with grants. I send grants out to my clients that I know are in some of their early stages all the time. I think being familiar with Baltimore Community Lending, if you're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
If you're in Prince George's County, you got FSC First.
Mm-hmm.
Out in Baltimore, Towson area, you got the SBDC.
Okay.
And if anybody needs to know any individuals at those places, I have connections at all of them. I'm more than happy to introduce. And like Racquel said, come see us down at the bank. I'm open to having any conversation about your business and how we might can help, or who I might can introduce you to that can help. Because I think in the lending space, it's enough for everybody to lend, so we got contacts everywhere. You might have an opportunity that might not fit in our credit box, but I probably can get you in front of somebody that can help.
I want to say you can't understand the impact until you implement it. So today, this is an impact that me and Gerard is implementing for you guys. So we're dropping some gems. A lot of you probably didn't even know Harbor Bank was a Black-owned bank headquartered out of Baltimore, servicing the Baltimore metro area. And not only that, we just opened up our new location in Silver Spring. So that was one that I almost forgot. We're expanding, and we're looking to service you and support your small business. So definitely come check us out. And I'm gonna let Edwin finish. Oh, wait a minute. And not to only mention, I almost forgot. First of all, Edwin became a customer of the bank a month ago, and he reached out to me and said, listen, you said you support small businesses. You said this. So I have a panel that I would love you to speak on. And this is when I say about being intentional, right? You got your banker that you reach out to and said, I need you to speak on this panel, talk about how Harbor Bank is in the community, service in the community. And look where we at now. So I think that, this is just a great example of how being intentional can be, worth it. So thank you for having us, me and Gerard. Thank you guys for our viewers. And we look to see you coming to visit us at Harbor Bank.
All right. So I agree. Definitely the intangibles surrounding your business, like health, are very important. And one thing I did want to talk about when we hear about finances, I think, banks are great institutions. I think they are very important to growing your business. But I think that there's a lot of ways for minorities especially to support each other. I think we spend a lot of money on things that are not there, that don't have the intention, that if you really look at it, you're not intentional with your money. And if you put to pool your money, you could potentially take your ideas and take them much further, and you potentially would become even more attractive to a bank like Harbor Bank that has even more resources. But I think that before you even get there, if you look at a lot of the people that are not minorities, they are able to go into family and friend funding to be able to mature their businesses to a point that people that are looking for like that good business model, that good profit and loss statement, et cetera, where your business is very attractive, they're doing that before they go to a bank that's looking for a more mature business. And I think that's very important. I think us as minorities waste a lot of unnecessary money that can help you build your future and build you as an individual. So anyway, yes, I joined Harbor Bank about a month ago, and I truly think that as I continue to make deposits to Harbor Bank, I'm hoping that as from a community development standpoint, helps the community. All right, so how can everyone reach you all?
Well, you can reach me on LinkedIn. It's Racquel Tyler on LinkedIn. So, just my first and last name on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn as well, Gerard McDaniel. Feel free to add me, shoot me any messages, anything like that. Ellwood has our contact information as well. And I don't know, it might be at the bottom of the screen right here.
it should
Might be.
It should be.
It probably will be.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I'm going to do this.
Follow me at this.
Find me here.
Follow me here.
All right. Thanks for attending another episode of the Winning Exchange, a special series of the Winning Season podcast at one of the highest quality venues in the United States. And today we got a chance to take an inside look into the numbers with some of our industry leaders in the financial world and how the experiences today can help potential business owners or current business owners expand their brand, their business footprint, and their business bottom line. Follow, like, and subscribe to the Winning Season podcast on Instagram and YouTube. Tune into our podcast recording as well on all of the major podcast platforms like Apple and Spotify. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.